The Pennsylvania German English dialect is mostly found in the southeastern region of Pennsylvania, typically among Amish and Mennonite colonies. The Pennsylvanian counties of Lehigh, Lancaster, Berks, York, Montgomery, and Northampton make up this region. The dialect can also be found in certain areas outside Pennsylvania where Amish and Mennonite groups later settled. These include parts of Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, Missouri, and even Kentucky. Speakers of Pennsylvania German English can be found as close as Sonora, Kentucky, where this dialect is heavily heard among the Amish community there. This rich German English dialect formed when immigrants from southern Germany, eastern France, and Switzerland came to America to practice their religious beliefs freely and to flee the destruction left behind from the 30 Years' War. Mainly consistent of Anabaptist faiths such as Mennonite, Shaker, and Amish, these settlers not only brought their religion to America, but also their German language, which influenced the Pennsylvanian German English dialect, also known as Pennsylvania Dutch. In the late 1600s, Quaker and Mennonite groups from Krefeld, Germany, were some of the first German immigrants to arrive in America. They established Germantown in what would become the area of Philadelphia in the early 1700s. Among them, William Penn encouraged more German immigration to this area. By 1775, over 70,000 Germans had arrived in Philadelphia and had settled throughout the Pennsylvania territory. Even though German immigration heavily decreased after the American Revolution, the German population in Pennsylvania remained steady, and their religion, culture, and language is still preserved today.
One cultural stereotype about those who use the Pennsylvania German dialect is that they are in a cult, since many speakers are Amish or Mennonite. However, author Donald B. Craybill explains that they are not in a cult. They are only known to follow the basic tenets of the Christian faith. Along with these basic tenets, they emphasize adult baptism, simplicity, community, separation from popular culture, the separation of church and state, and pacifism. One stereotype about the dialect is that it's not real English, since Pennsylvania German also uses German words. This dialect is a unique blend of English and traditional German. However, the author Mark Loudon says it best. Pennsylvania Dutch is not watered down by the borrowing of such words, but enhanced both in terms of the overall size of its vocabulary and the range of meanings its words can express. Since the majority of those using this dialect are Amish or Mennonite, they tend to have strong religious beliefs. As dictated by their church, they have very conservative, traditional values. Men and their families hold a central role, taking care of educational and financial decisions. Women are encouraged to have many children and educate their daughters on homemaking, cooking, and gardening. Divorce is not allowed and is seen as a reason for excommunication. However, if a person dies, their spouse is allowed to remarry. Many of their traditions are based in German culture, especially when regarding food. Most of their traditional recipes are well known, even by people who do not use this dialect. So, why is this dialect almost exclusively used by Amish and Mennonite groups? Before World War II, this dialect was very commonly used by many people living in the Pennsylvania region. However, due to the stigma that would have been placed on those speaking in a German-adjacent accent after the war, many people opted to begin speaking standard English instead. However, the more traditional Anabaptists, even those involved in the war, continued to speak the Pennsylvania German dialect, which is still the primary group that uses this.
The Pennsylvania German syntax is very similar to modern German, which also shares many similarities with English. It is common that the basic subject-verb-object sentence structure will be used when speaking. However, the main verb in a statement is always going to be in the second position in German. Unless it is a yes-no question, then the verb will always be first. For example, saying, "It wonders me," instead of "it makes me wonder" is a common phrase used among Pennsylvania Germans. They also tend to omit the words "to be" in sentences when following the words "needs" and "wants." Instead of saying, "the house needs to be clean," they would say, "the house needs cleaned." People outside of this dialect may describe it as proper sounding, and many words are heavily emphasized and quickly articulated. Many greetings or small talk we hear in the dialect are variations of the German language, and that is why German words may be used in everyday speech. For example, Guten Tag, meaning hello in German, is pronounced Guter Dog in Pennsylvania German. Here we can see how the German language ties in with the English language to create the Pennsylvania German English dialect. Additional examples of common greetings or small talk are listed below. There are many phonological characteristics and prevalent dialectal differences that can be heard in the dialect. Some of these would include sounds of W are pronounced as V, as in V for we. The voiced B is replaced by the voiceless P, as in sop for sob. The hard G is replaced by K, as in pick for pig. The F often substitutes for the sound of V in words like lift for live. The G is usually substituted by ch, as with saying generation for generation. The ch can also substitute for the j sound. The open O disappears and the short U or upsilon replaces it. The word grudge is more commonly pronounced as crutch. And the word mouth actually sounds more like moth. Vowel sounds in the dialect are produced in different positions of the vowel quadrilateral. As heard in the previous slide, an example of a vowel shift that occurs is when the word mouth is produced as moth. We can hear the O sound is shifted back and further down, allowing the diphthong in the word mouth to be changed to the open O in moth. There are many unique vocabulary terms found in the Pennsylvania German dialect. There are many more than the ones listed below, but a few of the most common ones heard are ruche, which means to squirm or shuffle in your seat, schmarz, which means to hurt, doppig, saying someone is clumsy, ach, which is variously paired with yes, no, not sure, meaning yes, of course, and so on, brutzing, as in stop your crying or whining, verhoodled, which means messy, hipschick, meaning someone is looking snazzy, nix-newts, which is a mischievous child, and schnickelfritz, which is a troublemaker. In the following video, pay attention to the unique dialectal differences you hear in certain words.
Grew up his entire life in Pennsylvania Dutch territory, so he still retains the accent pretty well. So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, and I'll have a list of words for you, and some more phrases I'll have you say.
Okay.
All right. So what is your name?
Well, my name's Duck. Douglas Duck, either way.
And where are you from?
Well, I'm from Berks County, Pennsylvania. Reading's a big city about an hour north of Philadelphia. And I live a little bit, well, I grew up a little bit outside of Reading, from the northern part of the county. I'm near the Blue Mountains.
All right. And what did your parents do for a living?
Well, my father, I grew up on a farm, but we didn't really farm. My father was a carpenter, and my mother, she worked in insurance.
And what do you do?
What do? I teach.
Cool. All right. Now here's the list of words we're going to have you say. I'll actually just have you read off.
Okay. So I should just say these words the way I'd say them. When I read them, just say them how I say them.
Yep.
All right. And, roof, route, wash, oil, theater, iron, salmon, caramel, fire, water, shore, data, ruin, crayon, New Orleans, pecan, bows, again, probably, spitting image, Alabama, lawyer, coupon, mayonnaise, syrup, pajamas, caught, naturally, aluminum, envelope.